and some lessons I learned, an overall conclusion on the bike. One of the big problems that I ran, well, not a big problem, but something I hadn't expected was I used these hairpin springs for the first time, and got them in the mail, came out, and bolted them right to the frame and right to the seat. And within a very short period of time, broke the welds that held on the mounts here, and also noticed that the bolts that it was bolted to the frame with were loose and wobbly. And turns out that they had actually been bent and misshapen. And turns out you cannot just bolt these pins to the frame and the seat. They have to have give at the mount points, because as your seat travels down, these mount points move. And this is some pretty stiff stuff. You know, if anything's going to give, it's probably not going to be this section of the spring. It's going to be wherever the mount is. So these are actually bolts again, but they've had the head cut off, and then I tapered them so that whenever your seat comes down, they actually, when I put my weight on it, it actually traps them. Like I can't, well, that one over there didn't get it, but there, like pulling up on it, I can't lift it unless I pop it with probably, you know, a small hammer. But what it does allow it to do is rock just ever so slightly. Then on the top, the eye bolt, or the eye mounts, were just like this. I ended up having to heat them and then turn them 90 degrees. As you can see, there's a hinge now, so that also pivots back and forth. And so now the spring and its mounts move, and not your these are called bungs. But anyway, yeah, don't just go straight bolting stuff, because you will break things. And I found out the hard way on that. Other lessons, this kind of seat hinge, I actually saw that Harley used to make this bike called the Hummer. You should look it up. It's real similar to the Heist, but they had kind of Sportster tank on them, and then they put the hinge as part of the frame above it like that. I kind of like that idea. The tank is from a Sportster Harley style tank. It's a little bit larger than the peanut ones you got on the Heist, but it's what I had from a previous project, so I went ahead and used it. GPS speedometer, one of my favorite things. Also, again, simple. You don't have to worry about cables or anything. You just run the 12 volts and mount your antenna, and you're on your way. Ape hangers, a lot of fun. Kind of a bratty look. Never been a fan of them, but never tried it either. So I got those fabricated. That's just tubing and bent in the shop here, 16 inches. Didn't really measure it, just kind of went by looks and measured it afterwards, but that's what it worked out to. And the only thing I found on these is that because they are higher, you tend to hold them a little bit differently than when I'm used to low drag bars, which is my favorite, but on these, whenever you give it the gas, this thing goes. So it pulls you back, and you get into this whiskey throttle situation. So you have to, it doesn't look right, like you're used to holding it like this, but you actually end up having to hold it like this, so that when you go back, if anything, you roll the throttle forward. But that was the only thing that was a little bit different about running the apes. But anyway, great project. Still got the LED light in there for the CCW headlight. Great solution for a bad setup. That's about it. A lot of the stuff is just cosmetic. You know, these bolts and covers and this whole setup here, just in the junk fender. That's off a trailer. Yeah, I don't spend any real money on these things. This is probably $1,500 total, and it's a great, fun, loud little bike.